They're guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
Call this the Siegfried.
Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 156 of the Magic Guys. To my left is Nick K.
Bonjour, friends.
Down below is Doug Kahn.
Salutations to the kindred.
And I'm Josh Lambito. Welcome to the show.
Roy.
We're here at the Magic Guys where we as professional magicians chat about the magic world, answer your questions and the shenanigans that go on with our careers. Nick, you learned a new sentence today. What is it? Well, you told me a new sentence.
Oh, I actually learned the meaning of this sentence. So I am a firm believer that French is by far the sexiest of all languages. And you can say almost anything in French and it sounds wonderful. And I befriended a Frenchman many, many years ago who taught me this phrase. And it sounds super sexy. And the phrase goes, tu vas manger ta patate, which sounds super sexy, but actually means you're going to eat your potato.
Well, that makes me want to eat a potato. Yeah, it does. Yeah, nice one. And thanks for being here, everyone in the chat. We got Tim, Ed, Ty, everyone's here. John, another Josh. Oh, two Joshes in one place. That's going to be an issue. But great to see you all here. Doug, you just jumped on. Have you been having a crazy week so far?
I was in the editing rabbit hole. I'm doing the thing where you're doing and time vanishes and I'm lollygagging. But look, I made it.
Oh, I know
I'm
what
not
that's
Jason
like.
Maher late. I'm just a little late.
Shots fired.
Oh, boy. Oh, that's a different sound. Okay. Nice one. We got Dylan in the chat. What's up, Dylan? AKA Editor Man. This is great. Well, it's been a while, hey, since we had a guest on. Just people don't want to come on this show for some reason.
Yeah, it certainly has. The thing is, it's talking of punctuality. Our next guest was kindly here like a full hour before doors open, and that's just the sign of a professional, an absolute professional. I'm actually really excited to share our guest with our audience this evening. Should we get started, friends?
I think that's the only way to begin, is to get started.
I vote yes.
Allow me to introduce our guest, friends. Our friend and guest joining us this week is the starter of the Pensacola School of Magic. He's been a long-time listener and first time being on the show. He's a super kind person who's reached out, or more importantly, extended the hand of friendship to both the Magic Guys and all of us personally, to which I took that hand, shook hands, and said, "It is a pleasure to call you a friend, and it would be our pleasure to have you on our show." So please join me in welcoming Milan Brunet.
What's up, guys?
Bonsoir, Milan.
Bonsoir.
Oh, yeah. I just realized something. Nick, we talked about Milan, maybe showing something later on, and Doug has no idea what it is. So that's kind of fun.
I'm in the dark. I was literally here 1 minute before the show started. Again, Milan, my belated apologies. So excited to talk to you about what you're doing. And let me get it right for the Americans. Pensacola.
Yes.
Pensacola.
Yes.
Oh.
Nice.
Pleasure.
I don't know.
Pensacola.
You said
Absolutely.
it like
No, thanks
maybe
for
a French person might have said it. I don't know.
I think you said like pencil Coca-Cola or something like that.
Pensacola.
Pencil cocaine, everyone, all the way from cocaine pencils.
Not that. I mean, it's Florida. So,
I mean, he does have the chains and stuff, so that could go with it. But anyway, very entrepreneurial guy. So where are you today? You're in a hotel?
Yes. So I was actually traveling with my wife and my daughter. I'm doing a conference here in Vermont. It's not magic conference related, but it's a conference for entrepreneurs. So kind of like the same spirit. So they just left last night, and I'm here for the next 3 days. And I had the chance to perform yesterday. So that was not planned, but very, very happy to be here.
What an interesting thing to do. So you're getting some education on entrepreneur endeavors. That's the deal?
Yeah, my wife and I are very entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So we run multiple businesses. The Magic School is my newest one, and that's the one I'm most passionate about. So
sure.
Very excited to be here, and very happy to be on the podcast.
Cool.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? I mean, if this is your newest venture, tell us who you are, where you're from, and how you actually went from, a super cool guy all the way from France to like a magic guy all the way here in the States in Florida. Like, tell us your story.
All right. So we have a couple hours, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So, just a quick background. So born and raised in Paris, lived, in France until I was about 20. I actually met my wife when I was doing an internship in Pensacola, and fell in love, the true, rom-com story. And we had a little bit of a long distance. Then finally, when I graduated college, moved in with her. My first business with her we actually started a food truck. Obviously, I'm French, so we went with the French brand. I was selling French crepes, and business is Mimi's Crepe, and it's still actually active. 10 years later.
Nice.
I no longer run it, but I have a friend of mine, Brian, that runs it, and he does an amazing job. And along the journey, we started multiple things. Kayaking business. We have some real estate, and most recently, been doing magic since I was 8, and I decided last year, God put it on my heart to do something a little bit bigger than myself with that. So I had this vision to open this school, and I just followed it. And within 2 days of having that vision, I just went ahead and started it. And fast forward a year later, we're killing it and very excited.
Can you speak a bit about beginning as a magician in France? You're 8 years old and you start doing magic. What's the learning situation like there?
That's a great question, Doug. Fell in love with magic when I was 8 because my mom took me to a magic show in Paris. Like, it was an underground theater, definitely not a place for a kid. But
Dominique de Bouvier's joint, huh?
Yeah.
Le Double Fond. Was that where you were?
Where I'm at?
Le Double Fond, Dominique de Bouvier. He has a small close-up theater in Paris. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I honestly, I was 8 years old,
Yeah.
so and to this day, I'm trying to remember what it was, but I can't really pinpoint it.
Yeah,
But
my money's on Dominique's joint.
Yeah, and in his defense, he was probably drunk because
They start him young over there.
dude, you can
Wine.
drink
Yes.
wine.
Yeah.
Wait. Before you continue your story, when did you first try wine?
I was probably 11. That's my grandfather.
Nice.
11, right. But he did own 2 businesses by the time he was 9.
Well, I
That's
mean,
true.
that's nice. I like it, but it's it's actually Doug, to your point, it's a very hard craft to learn when you're 8. So, and it was before YouTube and everything. So, kind of like VHS and all these things, and looking back, it's kind of like one thing that got me started with this school is I had nowhere to learn. I'm self-taught, so for many years after that, I just kind of like was reading, and I wasn't around any magicians, so really kind of learning on my own, which is now pushing me to starting that environment where we can teach and learn.
Well, question about learning. Like, do you kind of? I identify with what you're saying, where you were effectively self-taught, and I think that nowadays, the only way that we tend to learn is not through the mentorships that were done back in the day. Like when you study history, it was, Keller who was taught by so on and so on and so on, and it sort of plays on. Do you think that's something we should be bringing back, in which when you become more senior as a performer, that you do take on a protege at some point? Or do you think that it's a mixture of both? Like, what do you think is the best way for magic going forward?
I think both. I think like you need to have a passion for it. I do think the mentorship program is huge. I know that the truth is I see a pattern. It's like, as a kid they're very interested in magic, And then I think I heard Doug say it one time on the podcast, but kid love magic, they want to learn, and then you get into the teenage years, and that kind of like drop off. Like you just kind of like, this is lame. And then I see a lot of adults now, they want to pick it back up, but they don't know where to start. So I think having that mentor or having that person that you can reach out to is huge. So I had like now, but I've only had mentor like later. Like now that I'm actually doing more in the industry, in the community, now that's where I'm trying to surround myself with mentor. And 100%, I think, Nick, you're right.
Wow. And, we got to ask the question, like, what kind of stuff do you teach at your magic school? Is there something you have on you that you could, I'm kind of putting you on the spot because you're in a hotel, but like, what do people come to learn at the school?
So I have different program. I have, different class, but like I have the kids class and I have the adult class. I can talk a little bit about both. Do you want me to show you a little something that I would teach in the adult class?
Hell yeah.
Please. Hell
yeah.
Yeah.
So each week it's an 8-week program, and each week we have a different theme. So card magic, mentalism, money magic, everyday item. So last week we actually taught, we have a packed class right now, and we taught everyday magic. So like I said, I'm traveling, so I don't have a lot of props on me, but the cool thing with magic is that you can actually do magic with everyday item. So I was going to give this one a freebie for the listener, but this one you can actually do amazing. And Doug, I don't think you've seen that, but for this trick you need just a napkin, right? You need a napkin, but this is the secret part. Most people don't know that you actually have a second one in your hand. So
What?
you're holding, yes, I know, right? I mean, mind blowing, right? I promise you, just stick until the end. So you're holding this one, you're actually palming this one, but they don't know about this. So you're like, all right, guys, I'm going to show you this trick. You can do this at the dinner table. You can do this anywhere, like in a hotel room. And what you're going to tell them, you're going to actually tear that piece of paper, but you're holding this one. So you're tearing this napkin. So you now have, all these torn pieces. Now you're basically going to wrap this into your hand. And again, keep in mind, you're holding the other one. So now you're doing a transfer, obviously. So you're transferring this, and now you have that piece of paper that is being restored, right? Now, sometime you might get caught and be like, hey, what are you holding in your hand? Well, guess what? You have this one in your hand, and you can also show the other one. But the cool thing is the other one is also being restored as well. Mind blowing. Yeah. And if you guys want to learn how this one is done, feel free to message me on
This
on
is a
Instagram,
great impromptu trick to teach. What a wonderful choice for a magic lesson.
And Milan's mic broke for a second, but he said if you want to learn it, you can hit him up on Instagram, which are in the links below. What a gem, and what a way to, like, it's like a sucker trick, isn't it? It's like right. Especially for adults, it like you feel like you're taking them down this path, and then you just kick them over the cliff of magic.
So, question about your classes. I mean, some people feel like it might be too late for them, even if they've never done it before. What is the oldest student you have?
I've had.
It's Doug. No.
The truth out. Milan taught me everything I know.
1,000 years old. That's amazing.
We've had on our first class, the oldest one, it was 75 years old.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
I
amazing.
hear this a lot from people. The older generation is very interested in learning magic still. You can be a kid at heart and love magic. You can start it when you're 70. That's fine. Such a great thing.
Actually, it's kind of a cool story because 2 years ago I joined for the first time I joined my local magic group, and it's the Gulf Coast Magician Guild, and that particular student had been coming to that meeting for 3 years. And when I joined and I told them that I was going to start this magic school, he was like, oh my God, like, can I join? I was like, absolutely. But at first I was like, don't you perform as well? He was like, no, actually I've just been coming because I just love magic, but I don't know how to perform it. And so he came, went to the 8-week course. And then after each meetup that we have kind of like this open night if you want to try new material. And after he wrapped up my class, I was like, you need to go ahead and perform. He had been coming to that group for 3 years. He had never performed. He performed the next meeting and crushed it. And everyone was so amazed because they've known him for 3 years. He had just been sitting and enjoying magic, and now he was actually able to perform. That was such a proud moment for me.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I love that. I think there's something beautiful about that because who was it that said that? Was it Percy Diaconin or was it Fitzky? But I think there was a theory that whatever age you start magic is the mental age you have as you perform it. So like if you got into it when you were 8, you like the stuff that an 8-year-old would enjoy about magic. But if you got into it later in life, that you perform stuff that's more appropriate for that. Now I got into magic when I was 23, so I kind of feel like I appeal to that demographic as a result. But yeah, I wonder
that explains, I think, why I never wanted to do like kid shows, because I got into it properly. Although I dabbled throughout my childhood, I properly got into it like around 18 kind of thing. And so that's probably why the stuff I was learning was like the theory 11 latest coin vanishes and all that kind of stuff.
I have a theory that Fitzky's theories are a bunch of BS. Maybe, I don't know if the guy knew what he's talking about all the time. Here's what I suggest when people read Fitzky: find the reasons to argue with him, and then you're getting something out of his lessons.
Well, we might need to put him on the history lesson. What do you think?
Fitzky?
To discuss that further. Yeah, to discuss that further.
Maybe. Question for Milan. So you're doing a lot of other businesses outside of teaching. What amount of magic helps in those other businesses in terms of like whether it's like meeting people, maybe breaking the ice with magic, or anything in that kind of realm? Has magic like helped with any of that stuff, networking or agreements with business?
I mean, magic has been a part of my life for a very long time. So I think, in the business world, 100%, but it's more just in, connecting with people because, my wife will always kind of like in a sweet way, but she'll rolls her eyes when you be like, hey, I'm meeting new people. And after we talk for a while, they're like, say, oh, what do you do? It's like, well, now I lead with, hey, I open a magic school. It's like, well, can we see something? And I was like, here we go again. But that's kind of like, every wise magician, I feel.
Yeah. She's like, here's your tissue box.
Right.
If you're doing any kind of sales, it's a great skill set to have, right?
Exactly. And I was in sales for the longest time. Technically, I'm still in sales. And I think just for the ice breaking part, or just like, you go to conference and, I've done conference in the past where it's not magic related. And you're trying to reach that top guy that everyone is trying to talk to. And you see him later at the bar, trying to, and, you'd be like, hey, and just like, do you want to see some cool thing? And you show this magic trick. And now he's interested in you versus like, the opposite. So it's been a super great tool. And that's why I teach the student. It's a door. I mean, it's a tool that is going to allow you to open many doors in your life.
Do you have a go-to for an ice-breaking effect? And how many double crosses do you have?
Right, double cross is definitely a good one. Until I was like, man, like they want to retire a double cross. What the hell?
Did someone say that they're retiring?
No, yeah, we in our list of like what magic should be retired. Yeah. No, I think
go ahead.
I think the conclusion was that we said it shouldn't be retired. It should find their own creative way to use it.
Exactly.
Anyway, please continue.
I have this full routine. I can't remember exactly, but it's a quick routine with. I can't remember the name of it, but it's around cards usually, but like something that happens in the spectator hand. So usually I like, trick where I'm giving them the deck of cards and be like, all right, let me, you go ahead and you shuffle and then you do something like that. So it's kind of like a mind blower and they don't, and I'm not even touching the deck. So that's kind of like my to go. And then they'll be like, do that again. So then they give me back the deck of cards. Then I'll do something else. But yeah.
That's cool.
Nice. More impressive when it happens.
Curious on the school, is there a retail end of this? Do you offer some sales there?
I think it's, in my future plan to grow the school. I'm definitely in that period of time right now where I'm not trying to rush too much. I've had so much positive feedback, great support from the Magic community. Then I'm trying to scale, but I'm trying to do it in a very smart way.
Yeah. As you should, because it's a tightrope business, Magic in general.
The shop is maybe something that I want to add later, but I want to maybe wait for the brand to kind of be a little bit more, a little bit bigger, because it's just like, if you get into the retail, like obviously like your margins are going to start like, so right now I'm just focusing on the school in person. I think my next step future wise is maybe creating some type of like online course. I know like a lot of people have been requesting that because, hey, I'm not in Pensacola, like, how do I get to you? And I'm like, I don't really have anything to offer yet, but I think it's going to be the next step.
Yeah, just film the lessons, maybe. That's a start. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I mean, even even like I know a lot of dance schools will do like essentially you could do a better version of it, but they'll do like a Zoom dance lesson where everyone is there virtually.
That's true.
And the instructor can still see and give advice directly and things like that. But okay, so someone signs up for the Pensacola Magic School. What is their timeline or like experience like? Like, are they coming once a week for like 12 weeks or something like that? What's the structure?
So both for kids and adult, and I can talk a little bit about the kid one, but for the adult one, they sign up and both of them are 8-week course. So kids are on Monday night and then adult on Tuesday night. It's for an hour and a half, but usually I'm there like 30 minutes before the class starts. So if they want to come early, doors open before, and we can kind of like discuss some presentation, some thing that we've learned the previous week. And then for a week and a half, for like an hour and a half, we'll basically like learn tricks on that particular subject that we had that day. And for the kids, we don't have that for the adult yet, but I do want to have that in place. But for the kids, after the 8-week course is over, there is a full-on magic show that we put together in front of the parents and the family. And it's been amazing because they finally can see the result of, hey, I've had this shy kid that has been very interested in magic. And now he's on stage just like blowing people's mind, which has been like such an awesome, experience to see.
That's awesome. I bet you must have like parents in tears. Like I've never seen my kid be so full of, energy on a stage in front of people. That's amazing.
Outside of teaching a child magic, like magic aside, what are the sort of things that you find that needs to be overleaped with children? Do you find that their anxieties get the best of them? Do you find that their confidence is super lacking? Like, what have you identified and how have you helped the kids overcome that?
That's true. Obviously, as you that's the thing with today's world. I feel like you just go on YouTube and on TikTok, and they just show you how the trick is done, and that's the end of it. And I have a problem with that because there's so much more that goes into it. And to answer your question, I think I do have a lot of shy kids that comes to the school, but I love the diversity and. We're working on presentation. We're working on, building confidence. So I do like the first class is kind of like an icebreaker. So I'm kind of like pairing them, asking questions, in interviewing, and then they have to present each other. So that really helps with building confidence and just, critical thinking, problem solving, and just nurturing their creativity. I think all that is just this beautiful wrapped gift that and the magic is just the cherry on top.
Have you seen a lot of friendships flourish between the kids and between members of the classes? Like these folks who never knew each other, but because you've created this community that all of a sudden like little Jerry and little Timmy are now mates and they do magic together and they ride bikes together and now their families are friends. Like, do you see that sort of progression in your environment?
Absolutely. And honestly, that was kind of like the biggest thing that I love is I love people. I'm absolutely like every time, and I think it's kind of like we all do in some way. But I think, just building that community was the thing that I'm almost the most proud of is, have this private group for adults that, are just like for former students. and we keep sharing videos, and people keep practicing. I've seen like, I have a former student that basically taking what they've learned, and they have, I'm thinking of Ben, one of my former students. He owns this. He's an orthodontist, and he does this conference, and he performed like the Matrix in front of like his entire staff, which is like hundreds of people. And so you see that, and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then now we can all kind of like gather up, and same thing with the kids. Like you build those friendship around that craft, which is amazing.
What happens when you find the kids that like? One thing that I see in the junior communities of Australia is that there gets to a point where like ego really becomes something, where they have this level of overconfidence because they get this positive enforcement from doing something exceptional, because, magic is such a strong form of entertainment that it carries even the weakest performer, So right. When kids sort of predicate all of their, I don't know, gusto or their ego into that, you know what I mean? And it's built on that talent. Like, have you seen that in your classes? And like, how do you combat saying like, hey man, why don't you neck up a little bit?
I wonder if that's like a thing that happens much further down in the timeline, or is that, I feel like that's got to be a much longer down the track thing, but
I feel like it's a teenage thing, into that sort of realm, perhaps. I'm not sure. But have you seen it?
I've not seen it. I've not seen it with the kids, because they're just excited to learn and just excited to like, impress their parents and friends. So I've not encountered that yet. I can definitely see where you're coming from. I've not seen that yet. But we do our last class with the adult, not really touching on that particular subject, but our last class, we do a lot of talking about audience management, how to deal with hecklers, and how to deal with, when you deal with crowds and you're trying to perform, and you're gonna have this guy kind of like trying to bring you down. So we do talk about these things. We haven't touched on the ego part yet, because I feel like most students that I've had come in with the mindset of just like learning and sharing. And we do I've not mentioned, but like my buddy Nathan Nickerson, he's a great local magician as well, and he's helped me a lot when I had the idea of the school. I reached out to him and was like, hey Nathan, like I feel like I have a hard time doing this on my own. Like I really need to, bounce some ideas. And so Nathan actually joined me in that venture as a teacher, and he's very experienced as well. So he has a lot of good feedback. He knows a ton about history. So we take always like each class talking a little bit about like the history of magic on that particular topic. So that's, just kind of like sharing, but to answer your question, I haven't had to deal with the ego part yet, but yeah.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
That sounds awesome. Love that you have extra bodies and that you're delving into the history as well. It gives the students some extra vibes to connect to and points of view.
Absolutely.
How many students are in your classes? Like, what's the size?
So right now, I cap around 12 per class.
Yeah.
But then, I've done like 5 or 6 rounds. So yeah, 119 since we opened. And, I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit about kind of like the program for the kid, because the program for the adult, Nathan and I kind of like put this course together, the 8-week course. And we actually have 2 different 8-week courses now, and we're working on 2 others. For the kids, they're different.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that, there's a lot of guys here who have kids who would love for their children to sort of be involved in something like this. So like, yeah, let them know. Let us know what the
absolutely. So so when I had the idea of opening the school, I had this. I got put in touch with my friend Jeff Sobel, who is a local magician, but he's also an executive committee for the IBM, and he became my mentor throughout the process. And he was like, if you want to teach kids, because I had the idea of what I want to teach adult, but I don't necessarily know what to teach kids, and I want to put it on the kids level and kids material. So he actually put me in touch with this great company called Discover Magic, and that was founded by 3 guys. You may recognize some name, but Brian Daniel South, who is a world-class magic creator, Michael Lamar, world-class magician, and then Michael Mario Rosender, who is a world-class magician camp instructor. So those three guys got together and created this beautiful program, turnkey. Whoever wants to teach can sign up to be a presenter under the Discover Magic program, and it's amazing. They have the individual wrapped program with a beautiful template, and each week you also learn to a trait to be a good magician. So be prepared and be enthusiastic. So all these great things that I didn't have to think of. I just took the program and just taught it how it was.
Oh, amazing! How good is that?
Two-part question. Of all the disciplines of magic, you got your mind reading bits, you got card magic, coin magic, things with borrowed objects, etc. What is the favorite discipline that the kids enjoy, and what's the favorite discipline that the adults enjoy? Like rope magic, coins, what do they prefer?
They do like the vanishing, and the kids. I'm saying that every time you make something vanish, it's just like, where did that go? And then you make it reappear somehow. So I think the vanishing and reappearing principle is pretty amazing. For the adults, I think they do enjoy card magic a lot, because it's something that they obviously can carry in their pocket. I've got great feedback on the card magic, but also the everyday item is pretty huge. I mean, you can do that at a table. You don't need any props. You can do anything after dinner, things like that. So everyday magic and card, I would think, for the adult.
Wow. And Tim has just asked a question in the comment. What are the ages for the kids program?
Great question. So I start 8 to 12, kind of the range. And then once you pass, 13, 14, I feel like you're more in the bucket of the adult. And I feel like it's been amazing to see who signed up. And we've had a lot of, on the adult side, they sign up with their kids, or a brother and sister that are teenager, to create those bond around that craft. It's been beautiful to see. And then we all sharing this as a group, and we break out in different sessions. So I've had brother and sister, I've had father and son, I've had husband and wife doing it together. So it's just this. Yes, I
was hoping to hear there'd be some adult females involved in this learning experience.
Yes.
I'm assuming the children are.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine, Doug, if Erin starts giving you tips on your DLs, and she's like,
she does that. She does this. That sucks. That's what I hear.
Happy to hear I'm not alone, Doug.
That's what love sounds like, you guys.
Yeah.
She's the best magic critic, because she just has no filter. That's horrible.
That's it. Yeah. Milan, what does your wife think of magic? Can she still watch magic? Does she watch your magic?
Yeah. How's her classic past?
I think she's listening, so I'm just kidding. No, but I think she's honestly been the most supporting person throughout this journey. She helps me as far as the magic side goes. Every time I say, "Hey, I'm working on this. Can you pick a card?" Then I'm gonna get the eye rolling. But as far as the business side of things, she's been very supportive, try to help me grow, asking challenging questions. She I'm sure we can all relate as magician with that, but no, she's been amazing. And my daughter McKenna, she's 7 years old, and so she's also she's been taking all the kids class, and it's amazing because I got to spend time with her as well.
How good. Have you had any weird stories or funny stories happen over your time running the school? Has anyone got in trouble at school because they made a booger appear, or I don't know. Yeah. I'm just trying.
I wonder what happens when you're bad at magic school.
Yeah. That's funny. Little Johnny took my Game Boy, put it in a bag, and then it vanished, and he put his hand through the bag.
You have to go do ventriloquism for 30 minutes.
Or they're doing that prank where they hold a sauce sachet in their hand and they put a fork through it, to look like it goes through their eye. I don't know. Anything come to mind?
No, don't give them idea though if they're listening.
So here's what you do: you send them to read Fitzky for 20 minutes. That'll fix them.
They're gonna poop in the change bag. I can just see that happening. Try it at Fudge.
And there goes our sponsors. No. So we're going to throw it back to you, Milan. Any weird stories come to mind or funny?
No weird stories just yet. I've just had very positive feedback from kind of like, I'll share that because when you know, I was kind of like deciding what I wanted to do as far as classes. Originally, I thought I just wanted to do kids and teenagers, but then quickly I realized kids, I had no problem filling out the class, but teenager, I couldn't find any teenager that wanted to go to magic school. And I had lunch with my buddy Brent Lane, who is known as the radio guy here in Pensacola. I was trying to pick his brain, and you know, he was like, "Hey, it's too bad you don't have a class for adult because you know I would definitely sign up for that." And I was like, "You would sign up for a magic class?" And he was like, "Yeah." So I just waited a couple of seconds, like, "Well, Brent, guess what? An adult class just opened up." So he was my first student. And then after that, honestly, I've had tons of adults reaching out because they wanted to learn that.
Man, what a great idea to do like couples. You know, couples are always looking for cute things to do. But what if you had a type of thing where it's like, welcome to the couples class, right? And it could be just like, it's date night. Let's go learn a trick. And then you teach this couple how to do it like a speakeasy type routine, and they can communicate to each other and like as a team.
Love that idea.
You know what I mean? Like, think about it, bro. I mean, Valentine's Day is literally like 15 days away. You know what I mean? And you could just go, hey, go have dinner at this across the street, come to my school, learn a magic thing together, and then together you guys can be the life of the party everywhere you go to eat and drink and whatever else. Like, there's an idea there.
Yeah, I'm sure my wife will love that too, that I'm not there for
that. All right, we're halfway through.
Honestly,
why don't we change gears for a second? We haven't done one of these for a little while, but Nick has these reviews that he does about magic. And as a magic teacher, maybe we can get your thoughts on this product as well. But Nick, how do you feel? Are you ready to fire up a review? Are you ready to give it to him?
I'm excited.
All right, let's go.
Hyper Magic product review.
This portion of the podcast is brought to us by our good friends at Piper Magic, Australia's premier online magic store. And this week we are looking at a product by Mark Lemon called PTSD, said to be the perfect card prediction. And I kind of want to talk to you guys about this one. So what you get in this package is you get a gimmick envelope, or you get two envelopes. One is black, one is red, depending on what stage you're performing on. You get some gimmick cards and some very in-depth video tutorials explaining how you can go about performing this trick. Now, as far as difficulty goes, this is not a very difficult trick to do, provided you can remember a script and say what you need to say in order to get the message across and / influence. And outside of that, you just got to be able to take a card out of an envelope. You can effectively do this trick. Now, as far as pros and cons goes, the cards are made of plastic, so it's going to last you a very long time. There's no wallets, switches, extra envelopes, no fishing, thin cards, none of the sort. And there's no fumbling with indexes, kind of. And once you get the product, you'll be able to tell. Now, as far as the con goes, if you intend on performing this in the surround, you are not going to be able to perform this with somebody standing behind you. Or if you are going to do that behind you, you need to be wary of your angles. Outside of that, once you take a card out of the envelope, they cannot look inside the envelope. And you can't effectively hand out the card for inspection. However, there is a handling taught where you can hand out the envelope for inspection, but you need to be able to sit down in order to achieve that method. Now, as far as costing goes, Piper Magic currently have this for $80.95, which is approximately $60 US. So I had to ask myself, is it worth it? And I say yes, for the quality of the product and for how direct and awesome it is. And then another part of me goes, that's a bit exy. And the reason I say that is that because it's so direct and so quick, it's effectively a 1-minute trick for $80. Granted, it resets almost immediately and everything else, you can fire it off super duper quick. But another part of me is kind of like $80, kind of hurts. So when I had to ask myself, who is this trick for? I think it's for anybody who is looking to perform a really impossible piece of magic in a very direct way. Now, I want you guys to kind of think about how you would go about performing this. Think about Joshua Jay's trick Inferno, where he has the matchbox and so forth. It's effectively, in principle, very similar, but this is far more direct with less fishing and, in essence, less presentation. Now, if it's going to be part of a larger scale sort of effect that you're doing, then by all means, get it. And if you're going to get it, make sure you get it from pipermagic.com.au and use discount code PiperGuys so that you guys can get a discount on every single purchase. Cards, coins, rubber bands, you name it. Everything you purchase from pipermagic.com.au.
Piper Magic product review.
Milan, are you buying much magic these days?
I am, unfortunately, and that's because of you guys mostly, but you know.
I am, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think this is like the biggest curse for a magician is just like, I think you will never have enough, right?
I call it the
Absolutely.
magic lottery. It's like gambling.
But question to the group, have you seen this effect?
I have not.
Let me also wanted to review your review. Two thumbs up, man. What a solid review of that product. I've seen it. I've seen unboxings, and I think that was a very fair look at this potentially strong piece. And I've heard the instructional on the Inferno-esque part is unique and interesting.
It really, really is. There is a lot of great knowledge here, and when you see those type of things that seem so impossible on TV, it's effectively showing the methods to achieve that. And it is deeply impressive, super impressive.
I think that when we talk about pricing magic and you say 60 might be too much, I would say that if you're lucky enough to find any magic routine that would go into your working repertoire, 10,000 is not enough. The price point on effect versus money, I don't think we should quantify that in the reviews. Maybe. Does that make sense?
That's a good idea.
If this is going in your working repertoire, well, congratulations, you won the lottery.
The money doesn't. That's right. You could buy a $2 book and find a gem that becomes the biggest thing. Right.
A 10-minute talking piece with the audience volunteers. How much is that worth?
Yeah. You know what? And if you're totally right. And I was a little bit torn as to how to price it up because in essence, it's expensive. But the reason I wanted to bring that up is that comparatively, so we're looking at something that's double the price. So and it takes longer to perform. So sometimes people want to gauge their product on, well, I bought it and I get 6 minutes on stage with it, and people find value in that. So it was really interesting trying to gauge the value of it because I think it's entirely valuable. I think it's amazing, right? But I could appreciate how some people will be like, ugh, that much money for 1 minute?
If you're buying magic just to, find the secret out, like most tricks, you're probably going to be sad about it, no matter how much you spend, huh?
Yeah. So, and I kind of love that if you are that type of person, don't get it and let that price point protect the secret because the secret is so damn good. And the trick is so damn good.
It should be that way with most magic. Professional routines.
I like when I pay a lot for something and then I realize how good it is and I'm like, yes, that means that way less people are going to have this. Right. Or like the barrier to entry being, that you've got to build something or, it's like so much effort to learn this technique. I'm like, that's awesome because no one else is gonna do it.
And Scott says, erroneous how long it takes to perform. How long does that memory live in your spectator's mind? And I did not think about that. Really
that's up to your presentation. So that's up to you as the performer to make that.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah. Speaking of performing, if I may just one last thing before we delve back into Milan's world. We are opening up the newest, our new home of the Theatre of Magic here in Brisbane. And we're now residing in the Treasury Hotel, which is part of the hotel and casino here in the city. And we made a new trailer. I shot and we edited a new trailer. I'm going to play it just real quick, just because why not?
Sure.
This is the Theatre of Magic new season.
Beautiful.
Love
Brother, that looks sick.
Starting this Saturday. Get your ticket at ticketek.com. No, don't go
I
there.
am going to fly up and perform there with you guys. That just looks like way too much fun to not be a part of. And then being alongside people like Chris and Nige, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's the place where you learn how to do magic at the Pensacola Magic School, and then eventually you end up at the Theatre of Magic in Australia. That's what it is.
It seems to be the progression. It's like first you become a listener, then you become a guest. And then from a guest you become a host.
Yeah.
It's got to be exciting to be on the
Actually-
casino property, right? That's going to be a move in a stronger direction. Yes.
Yes, I think so. I think it's a bit. It definitely adds a little something to it when they're like, "Oh, we're going to the casino for this show." Definitely, it's gotten a few eyeballs looking at it, like, "Oh, wow, you're in the casino now!" Like it, you know, the show is going to be the same wherever it was, but there's this added layer of experience that comes with being where it is now. So
Magic shows are synonymous with being part of the casino. I mean, go to Vegas, it's totally evident. But I think what's even cooler is that it's going to be a secret magic show. If you know, you know, type of thing. And I love stuff like that. If you know, you know. You know what I mean?
yeah, totally. So Milan, are you doing any? Do you do any public shows?
I do some like it's not something that I do much these days, but you know, I'll do it if people ask me. I'm actually going to be doing a couple you know, on stage performance. I did one yesterday, but you know, right now I'm really trying to focus on the school. I have one residency right now that I'm working on a private club in Pensacola. But to touch on your point, congratulations, the trailer looks awesome. And I think you're right, like the location of where you're performing is huge. Like to tie it back to the school, we are having the school at the, you know, Pensacola Rex Theater, which is one of the oldest building, and Pensacola is a very, very old town. So having that location, I think, makes the school even much more cooler, you know?
Yeah.
Is the theater operational as a theater?
It's actually a church.
Oh,
It's Generation Pensacola, but they also do events out of it, and you know, like they have film sometime, but it's mostly a church and a coffee as well, a coffee shop.
love it.
Well, you know,
Love it.
most magic meetings do happen in churches, so that, you know, it makes sense that would
Look, my
continue
end
around the
game is
world.
this. I got a small theater with a coffee shop. That's for me. And then the magic shop so I can, you know, spread the wisdom. And you'll find me maybe in France because I'm not going to do it in the States, but maybe I will.
Doug, you got to come to us.
Would love to hear.
Yeah, actually, you guys are all going to come to Melbourne and see like the Laneway Theatre, which is exactly that. Like it's a little 50-seat theater with tiered seats, and that's something. Should you guys ever make it down? You have friends, you have me, so that'll be great.
Yeah, we now have a reason to go.
Are there magic venues in Florida? Like, is there any sort of like magic bars or things of that nature where you could see folks?
Not that I know of. There might be some, but
In Florida, there was the Theater of Magic. It's operational in St. Petersburg right now. I think they were in Orlando for a while.
Oh.
You know, Bill Malone had a place for longest time over there in Boca Raton. You know, Malone's Magic Bar.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Oh, damn.
yeah, but even in bigger city, like for example, before coming in Vermont, we had a layover with, you know, my wife and daughter in New York. So I went and checked out, you know, Tenant's Magic Shop, and then Don't Blink as well.
Nice.
It was cool. I mean, you see it in a bigger city, but Pensacola is still a fairly small town.
But it has tourism in it. It's an attractive area for visitors. So I think this might lend, you know, when I talk about retail, that might be something that could work there. Maybe seasonal, right? But
yeah, we got all those tourists from New Orleans coming, you know.
well, yeah, you got clean beaches there. You know, the Gulf of Mexico is not too pretty in the Mississippi. You know what I mean?
So, Milan, you were saying that there's certain growth that you would like the school to experience. Why don't you share that? Like, what do you envisage happening for the school? And tell us. So if there's any way that we could possibly help, either, you know, between the three of us and, of course, our community, like, let us know what is the dream?
Yeah, that's a good question, Nick. I think when I had this vision for the school, I wrote down, I went crazy and wrote down all these crazy ideas that I had, and actually looked back at it. Some of the point that I had on there was, international school. So I don't know exactly what it would look like, but my vision for this would be to one day open something different location, maybe reach a group of people that not necessarily have, because there is obviously a need for it, right? People want to learn. I think they're longing to learn, but they have no mentor, nowhere to do that. So implementing this school, and why not Australia now that we're in contact? That would be a great way to learn, a great way to start, and then maybe like friends, because obviously I'm from there, but I'm open. So kind of like international school, working on new curriculum right now with Nathan for the adult class, and then potentially like move some of it online. Yeah, and honestly, right now I'm just pouring into my students and creating like new talent, because I've seen a lot of, like, especially on the kids side, a lot of amazing potential. So,
could you do a Zoom type lecture like at your school, where everyone comes to the school, you get a projector up, and then like either one of us can like lecture and share magic with the audience?
I would love to. That's a great idea. Yeah.
All right, write that one down. Yeah. You're welcome.
And then, yeah, absolutely. And then, just like you mentioned, you mentioned earlier, like, a special class. So I was thinking also doing like enough for just like, maybe couple, or just, grandparents and grandkids, or, just single guys, how to pick up, girls at the bar, or things like that, just kind of like different group of people, and just have like, that's
we can do a class on bald magic, because obviously you don't have experience in that, but we have plenty.
But then as far as like that's kind of like the idea of like how the school is growing, and I didn't mention that, but like I'm really big into giving back to the community. So there is a portion of the seats at the school that I donate to low income family, or I partner with the charity called Big Brother Big Sister. Doug, I don't know if you're
I love this. It's so good. That's beautiful.
That's so
great. It's big to me, because I'm like, like, if you can afford it, it's great. If you can't, I'm still gonna welcome you in the school. Like I don't want this to be a barrier to entry. So I'm that's my big
honestly thing. These are probably some of the students who need it more.
Exactly.
So good. Well played.
I would gladly donate a lecture in any Zoom capacity to help out those who need it. Like that's
awesome.
Yeah, it'll be my pleasure.
And likewise, and all I'll charge is one of those chains you're wearing, because they obviously.
I mean, I'm over here thinking I'm in your. I'll show up one day. If you want, I'll film it, put your face more on YouTube, and we'll make a video of me coming to visit and give you some
I'd love to.
Advertising.
Yeah. I was actually in New Orleans recently. I didn't hit you up, but I went to that playing card shop.
Oh yeah,
right.
How beautiful is that place?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. And he was telling me, it's like I'm working with Doug right now, and it's like, wow, we'll have to get all together for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be like being in a band,
I got friends in Pensacola. It's not out of the realm for me to come, spend the night there and then pop over and be a guest teacher and film a little YouTube thing that works for everybody, maybe. So
you got one more friend now. So
stay in touch. We'll make that happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Milan, did you have any musical influences or anything of that nature to influence your performance style by any chance?
I mean, your former band was definitely a big influence. I dreamt for many months to say that. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Why? Do you have something in mind?
No, somebody just put on an excuse to drink.
There we go. Cheers, everyone. Nice. What age did you come to the US? I know. I feel like we did talk about it, but
I said at the beginning, but I was right off college, so right around 20.
20. And did your wife? Did you meet her in France or in America?
No, so we met when I was doing an internship here. She was formerly the morning anchor for the local Channel 3 news here in Pensacola.
Okay.
So we met at the bar, and guess what? Like, helped me to, I did some magic, and she did not care for the magic. I'll be honest.
Dating a local celebrity. All right.
Right.
I see what's going on.
Funny because when she told her friend that she was dating a magician, they're like, "Does he live in his mom's basement?" That's the first thing.
That's the general presumption of
I'm trying to make magic cool again.
Yeah, but hang on. So what? Where is she from? Is she?
She's American. She's
American.
Yeah.
So instead of saying I met this hot French guy, she said I met this magician.
Yeah.
Does magician override like the accent? Because surely the accent
I don't know.
has got to be a good starting point.
French magician. That's a flex.
That's
and they
a
go,
good one.
oh, bonjour.
Mange la patate.
Oh, yeah. She had no. Yeah.
Fun fact: I lived in France for a year when I was 11-year-old in
Where
Clermont-Ferrand.
Oh, Clermont-Ferrand. Yeah. Very cool.
My father works with Michelin Tire, and Michelin is a French company, and I learned many things in France at that age. But it was hard to
Drinking
find
wine at 11.
I was always looking for books or magicians on TV, and it just wasn't there. I didn't see any of it.
Yeah, it's hard.
But I did see the French beaches.
Oh yeah.
Hang on a second. You guys are looking at each other like there's boobies on that beach. Is that true?
I became a man in southern France.
At 11? Goodness me.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? Not look?
Yeah.
Drinking wine on the beach, at 11 probably.
Oh yeah, that's like the legal age, 11.
No, it's 18, but
All right, good stuff. So, man, I hope some of our listeners show up at your class one day, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm here because I saw you on the podcast."
I'd love to.
The Magic Club must love you because now you're also a feeder for that organization, and in this day and age, the groups desperately need this.
Yeah.
The president? Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, can I say what I envisage for your school? Just through the conversation, I've been building sort of a mental imagery of, like what your dreams, aspirations are and so forth. And what I envisage is that people come to class and they also have the hands-on experience. But then when they leave, they have access to an online platform that covers everything you just spoke about in that class. So they needn't go home and be like, oh, I forgot where to put my finger. They can actually do it in person, go home, have this video material that they would have access to on the Pensacola website, and then just reiterate whatever they're trying to learn.
Yeah, do that.
Then,
right. We do. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, not at all. That's what I envisage, and then you would probably have to you can't access the next one until next week. I know you're getting ahead of yourself, but don't do that.
Yes, we already have that. So the first class, I didn't really know what I was doing. So the first class, I just did that. And I'm really big into getting feedback because I was like, guys, I'll be honest, this is a dream and we putting it into reality, but it's I don't really know what we're doing. So the first class was kind of a testing, but then I received feedback. They're like, wow, you learn so much because one of the main things we just want to know 1 or 2 trick. But I'm like, guys, we're going to be together for 8 weeks. Let me tell you guys going to know way more than that. So by the time the class is done, they know roughly 30 to 40.
Whoa.
And then we did do that. So when I get back home, I went and filmed myself teaching those tricks again in, my house. And I put them on the Google Drive and they have access each week. I basically invite them to the video. So I didn't mean to cut you, but that's already something that we provide. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's exactly what I envisioned.
Feedback.
Nice.
And I think it's such a great way of teaching. I got to say that as this episode slowly comes to a close, I'm so thankful we set up a friendship. And the reason is it's just so refreshing to find someone so passionate, equally passionate, if not more passionate than we are about magic. It's so great. It literally makes me warm and fuzzy. And I'm just so thankful that you are doing this. And I'm even more thankful that you've extended the hand of friendship and we're able to now call you a friend. So like, thank you for being here. Like more importantly, and thank you for doing this school. It is so great.
Quick side. Oh, sorry. Go on, please.
No, sorry. And
I
know you're coming to an end, but like I want to reiterate what I said on the message to you guys when I first reached out. I was like, you guys are doing such an incredible job for the community, and I'm so grateful. Like, honestly, this was a dream of mine to be on the podcast one day, and I was like, oh, this is not gonna happen. But then, I'm like, I mean, you guys are like, there is tons of people that like have reached out to me just from the podcast, and then also just you guys are doing so much. If you don't realize it, I'm telling you, there is tons of magicians out there that are just listening to you guys on a weekly basis and are getting a ton out of your feedback. And just like, I feel like I've known you guys for years, which is amazing. And just thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, that's great. How long ago did you first like hear about the podcast?
Probably like a year and a half, maybe, I want to say. Like, I just...
Okay, so a little... Yeah, gotcha.
Okay,
Just curious.
Question. How much better is it since Nick K joined?
Not in there. I'm just kidding. Not making any fun here.
Nick definitely did bring the structure to the podcast. Yeah, that's for sure.
We're much more on track with Nick K and behind the scenes. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every week.
Absolutely.
Nick's
Milan,
a shaker.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Gary V? You give me big Gary V vibes. Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh, no, I mean, I listen to his content. I'm big into, I'm trying to, with the magic, I'm also trying to bring like some motivational, speaking aspect to it. When I speak, especially when I talk to the kids, I think, magic is a great platform to also teach them things like gratitude and just like goal setting and things like that. So maybe, without wanting it, like maybe
just the way you carry yourself and the way like you approach things, how you're doing multiple businesses, it just gives me that same kind of vibe, but you're also happy at the same time. It's very refreshing.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Hey, I'd be grateful of that full head of hair because, God knows we don't have it. But hey, look, as we come to a close, you can continue this conversation with Milan by finding him on his socials, which are all in the descriptions below. John says Milan is cooler than Gary V. Well, hey, Gary can't do magic, so you got that right. Follow him, and earlier in this episode, if you joined late, he did show a piece of magic which is really cool and not in sort of mainstream knowing of tricks. You can hit him up on his Pensacola Instagram or his personal one, ask him about it, get some more detail. And we're going to leave Milan with the final word of the show. So here we go.
What to get the final word. So just guys, just thank you for having me. One of my thing that I always say is like, you always think you have more time. So just my final word is just don't wait. Just go out there and live your dream and go make magic happen. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.